as far as Devin. And JD just told me that it's out, that he's been released. I knew today would be the day. I didn't know the exact time. He'll start being an outpatient now, back in Indy for the time being. That time remains to be seen how long that will be. But it gets him back home. And on behalf of all of us here, just like the hospital in Bloomington, the Indiana Rehabilitation Hospital, has been absolutely fantastic. And it's been great to watch them work, to see how they've worked not only with Devin, but to observe them with other people. And this whole situation, he's been around true professionals, whether it's in Bloomington or Indianapolis, and I know that'll continue to be the same now as he goes through the outpatient part of it. And but there's really no more updates as to what the next step is, much past that. As far as us, there's no question this is going to be an incredibly challenging game in many areas for us, and we'll get into them a little bit. But for us, we're starting to form an offensive identity, and I think when we look at our backcourt right now, what we've really envisioned is starting to come in place is we're really basically playing with 3 point guards and 3 guards and the point guard for us has always been somebody that can do numerous things: score, shoot, pass it, drive it, facilitate, defend, whatever it is. And I think right now, with the way the ball is moving, the way James is moving the ball, the way Robert's moving the ball, the way Yogi is, certainly Nick, but he doesn't have the ball in his hands quite as much in the sense of facilitating. But the ball is moving well. And then you add guys like Max, who's continuing to get better there, Troy and Stan to the equation now. Ball movement should be a strength for us. It has to be. And the next big part of it's going to be body movement, because that's the next attribute for our team to get better offensively, is to move as well without the ball. Sometimes in the screening, sometimes in reading how we're being played. And that just opens up the court that much more for us. But our players are working extremely hard at improving on both ends of the court. There's no question that every aspect of it will be challenged on Thursday night with SMU. And what they are, they're an extremely talented at all 5 positions team. They have very good depth, the kind of depth that you want, because the depth is a little bit older. And it's guys that have played maybe bigger minutes for them in the past that understand what their role is. Guys like Brown and Manuel. I look at Cannon Cunningham as like a 6th starter. But their talent is really good. And they've spent a lot of time, over the preseason watching their games from last year, certainly even more intently the last couple of days, watching their first 2 games. I'm not sure against Gonzaga the other night if anybody would have gone in there and had much different result with the way Gonzaga played. But SMU brings a lot of everything, not a little bit of everything, but a lot of everything. They can really score inside. They're tremendous defensively. Their length is outstanding. They get really good guard play. They've got 3-point shooters. And again, they can go into the bench, and they're going to bring a very physical and aggressive attacking style to us, which is going to be a tremendous challenge on any night, but especially with as young as we are, and especially with the newness that so many guys have right now. So in a sense, it's a great, I hate to call it a test because it's the next challenge out in front of us, but I know we're excited to play it. Guys have looked forward to it. And I hope we have just a phenomenal crowd, because I think we're going to see one of the better teams in the country in SMU. And we want to get to that place. We want to get to where we have consistent and reliable depth like they have. We want to get to where we're a multifaceted offensive team, and where we can get to the rim, or we can keep the free throw attempts up. We want to get to the point where we're even more connected defensively. Right now, because of our size, we have to do a few different things. There's got to be some different schemes here and there when you're going against different sizes of teams, and we'll see a big one tomorrow night. But it's a great time for us to play this game. It comes right in the mix of a lot of games, but we're certainly well aware of what they're capable of and how good they are. And when it comes to Coach Brown, there's really, I was thinking about this, I can't name anybody that I have learned more from or that has been better with me that I didn't work for. And I've got some friends I've learned a lot from, and some that that aren't friends maybe that I've learned a lot from. But Coach Brown is in the Hall of Fame as a coach, and I don't think there's any question that he could be in the Hall of Fame with the second bust as a contributor to the game. And because he does, he has been so good to so many coaches, and he spawned that, with other coaches. Guys like John Calipari are very, very good, with other coaches, and always trying to make guys better. And you see that, in what they do in clinics and the way they open their practices and things of that nature. But Coach Brown has been one of those guys that's been at the height of his profession for so long, but he's always been an open book and helping coaches learn, grow, and improve. And one of the great things about his success is how willing he is to continue to learn and improve. And one thing I learned early on with him, he can take what he sees from you and he can help you make it even better. And it's going to be an incredible challenge, and at the same time a great honor to coach against him and his staff tomorrow night for all of us. Well, they had to guard their post so well. Gonzaga is very, very big, and they have Kyle Wiltshire who can play in and out, and Sabonis is tremendous for a young player. I mean, they've got. There's another team. They're extremely talented at all 5 positions. They can come off the bench. What they did is Kevin Pangos got hot, but at the same time, I think he's capable of doing that on any given night. But what he did is he ran the team to play 33 minutes and have no turnovers against that team, and to have the assist that he had, and to go 5 of 8 from the 3-point line, and to have the ball move the way that it moved. And we'll continue. We showed some of that yesterday. We'll continue to show more of that today. That if there's a takeaway, it's how great they were at moving the basketball. But they certainly had some real options to go to inside that caused some problems for SMU.
I guess in that vein, Hunter started well this year. Do you need even more from him, the inside offensively tomorrow night to help with that space?
We need Hunter just to be consistent. We need it to be like I've said in the past. We need it to be day by day. Not a day-to-day Hunter, but a day-by-day Hunter. And there's a big difference. And day by day means that he's getting better constantly and he's improving, and that we don't put a speed rush on it or have expectations that he's not ready for. And we work very, very hard at that. He's working extremely hard at that, and spending more time watching extra film and trying to learn and try to apply it. So we just need to stay on that pace with him right now and not rush it. Well, he's fearless. He's got incredible toughness. He can score at the rim. He can score in the pull-up. He can score from deep in 3. He makes the easy pass. So he's not one of those guys that's over dribbling and thinking shot first, shot second, pass distant third. I mean, he's taking the basketball play and he's making the basketball play. And I think that's where they've done such a good job with him. And he's got tremendous fearlessness on defense. And we're going to see some tremendous on-ball defenders this season, especially this preseason, when you start to think about Louisville and you start to think about Pittsburgh. But SMU, really, they'll take a backseat to no one when it comes to on-the-ball pressure, and I think Nick leads the way with that. So he's a well-rounded player. He's a veteran. He's a proven winner, and he makes a lot of things happen for that team.
Coach, you have 3 guys now available. Do you know how you're going to work them in? Someone's been a former starter, will he start?
Well, I think right now I haven't made any decisions on that, and it's really not as relevant as who finishes the game, for us. So it may or may not change, and that's not being evasive. It's just not. It's not on the top of the list. I mean, they'll, we'll have a playing group more or less today when we scrimmage and see how that goes. But really, it's about who's going to finish the game, and that's the most relevant thing, tomorrow night inside of the game.
What have you liked when you put Yogi off the ball and Robert or James on the ball? What have you liked from that action, and what does Yogi still need to learn just about playing off the ball? What do you want to get out of that?
Most game plans are built, I would think, and I can't speak on behalf of them. Most game plans are built on where Yogi is, and I think at the same time, when you add guards like we have, they're on the page too. But I think the more that Yogi moves without the ball. I think the more that he gets the ball in different situations, I think even the more effective he is. I think it's very easy to key on him early when he has the ball in his hands and it stops at any point in time inside those slots. And I think it's so important that the ball continue to move and that he be the beneficiary of the movement, and everybody else plays in that. When we're not there yet spacing-wise, and I see it, and it's one of those things. It's not a magic wand. All of a sudden they've got it. I mean, you got to continue to do it. You've got to continue to understand that spots just have to be filled. It's not like this guy's in the corner, this guy's here. No, spots are just filled. I mean, you fill those spots and you play out of it, and you recognize how you're being played, and you recognize where the drives are. But I like the fact that all along we really wanted to develop a group of guys that could make decisions, that could facilitate offense, and at the same time could get offense for themselves or for others. And I think that's where we're heading with that group. I don't think we're there yet, but I think that's where we're heading. Well, Yogi obviously can already do that. So the more that the other guys are able to facilitate offense for others, the better they're going to be at being complete guards.
How have Trent and Santa been doing practice, and how behind are they in terms of just not having those game reps?
Well, they've actually done probably more, especially on game days. And I think Friday we had 2 different individual sessions with those guys. So there's been no wasted days with them. They practice just like everybody else does. And sometimes day before the game is when we go into where they might have played scout team to help us prepare, and that's made our scout team pretty good. But it was never about getting away from playing Indiana basketball. There's times we have to make that reminder, you know, that even though you're doing what the scout team guy might do, you mean you're still trying to make the right play. So that's all part of the maturity process of that. But spending a lot of time and refining their game, spending time with the extra work, even guys that aren't playing a lot of minutes, it's a little harder. We spend a lot of time on fundamental development in a normal course of a practice day. But on game day, when it's a 3-hour time limit, no matter what you do, it's a great time to get those guys that aren't playing a lot of minutes, or guys like Troy, Stan, and Emmett, to get a lot of extra work, because obviously they didn't have the game. So, and we've tried to make sure that they're, even though they haven't been visible, that they're a big part of the process in the back, you know, with making points, with taking things from the game that they can apply to their teammates, and then hopefully things that they can apply to themselves. I know they've missed it, and I've seen no lack of work or no anything other than even a more of appreciation for what the game means when you don't have the game to play. And so, but time will tell on that. I mean, time will continue to tell. But they've worked extremely hard, and I have no doubt that inside of that time they've worked to get better. They just don't have the game experience of that. And again, anytime you're bringing somebody back into your team, kind of going back to Mike's question, they have to get with the team. It's not like the team comes back and gets around them. I mean, the team, they have to fit into what we're trying to do, and so that doesn't happen easily. Okay, but it has to happen. So we've got to work through that and see how that all goes, and blend them in.
I guess just to sort of circle back to Hunter just a little bit, how much has his consistency, again, I know it's just the start of the season with the exhibitions and the 2 games so far, the way he's played, how much has that maybe accelerated his growth in terms of, you talked about behind the scenes staying consistent, watching more film, things like that?
Well, I think it's all part of it. You know, when you start to have success, you either get complacent with it and think it's going to happen and it goes away, or you get hungry for more. And for him, we just need to keep. We've had a very good process, you know, with him, and we've always felt like we had a pretty good plan for him. But in the past, you know, due to different circumstances or due to who was in front of him, and due to his inconsistencies, it became a day, 2-day deal. But day by day means that every day there are certain things that you know you can call upon. And it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to score a lot of points or that every rebound's going to come your way, but that you're going to bring that consistent level of effort, energy, awareness, trying to build simplicity into it. And I think you should go, then your confidence gets up. And it's the old, you can't move on to another role till you master the one that you're in. Well, he's defining his role right now. We don't have a role defined for him per se. But to come out and play with confidence, I thought the other night, one of the things that I take away from this, he's really improving on playing longer stretches, okay? First couple minutes into the game, it was almost like he didn't have his second wind. I was just about ready to take him out. All right, 3rd, 4th, 5th minute, he's going at a much harder pace. And it didn't have anything to do with scoring points, which is usually when guys get their win real quick, when they make a bucket. He just continued to play hard. That's the consistency level he's got to have. I don't think I subbed him till the 11-minute mark, somewhere in there, if I remember correctly. You know, which I would have never thought, you know, we're going to do that in the past, right? So, like, to me, that's improvement. That's the level of improvement. It may not show up constantly in a box score, and it may not show up constantly in mistake-free basketball, but it's showing up in effort, and those things are going to lead us to being better down the road. Does he have to have a good game for us tomorrow night? Everybody does. Everybody does. It's not where it's going to be one or two people are going to defend the paint or defend the perimeter. It's got to be, we've got to be really good inside that paint area tomorrow night to keep them from scoring and to keep them from over-penetrating and at the same time get out to their shooters.
The dynamic you said in essence, you have 3-point guards.
That's what we're building. I shouldn't say we have it yet, but that's what we're working towards.
As you do that, the dynamics of that, I know it's, you know, they change roles in case maybe a possession.
Sure.
How hard is it to get that timing down?
Just playing together. No, I think it's when eventually it'll really take shape when there's not a lot of overthinking. You know, it's still new. And I love to count Montreal as part of what we've done, and we do. But at the same time, this is only getting ready to be the third official game James and Robert have played. And it's not easy. I mean, you look around the country. You can't judge freshmen based on successes or non-successes early on. You got to judge it over a period of time. And are they continue to get better? Do they bounce back from a tough game? Do they keep going after a great game? You know, those kind of things. And with the exception of a couple guys that maybe play most of the game around the basket, all right, it's very, very hard to stay on a consistent level. What we want them to do is be consistent with how they move the ball, how they attack on defense, how simple they can make the game, how ready they are to shoot, where they're looking for opportunities that see the rim but also see the open man, those type of things. So in those type of adjustments, that's what you're more concerned about rather than do they know every part of the play, do they know every part of the playbook. That's not as, now that'll be relevant, but it's not as relevant yet. What's relevant now is that they continue to play through success and mistakes.
Couple schedule questions. SMU going to Gonzaga, does that help prepare them for what they'll experience here tomorrow? And just talk about playing this run of games over.
I would imagine it would. I mean, that crowd looked incredible. I hope we're just like that. And I mean, you could tell from television that they were very, very excited. I think Gonzaga people knew that they had a really good team coming in there. And our people, I think, will understand the same thing. This is a really good team that we're bringing in here. And it was scheduled a ways back before they became that good a team. But you know, if Larry Brown's coaching them, they're going to get that good. As far as the part of games, it's been a part of this whole Hoosier Classic that we're running, you know, with SMU, where we play 3 opponents and then play SMU. So is it optimal? It is what it is. You know, they want to play games. If you ask the players, they love it. But at the same time, as coaches, you still got to make sure that you're not getting away from making your team better and not just turn it into preparation time. And I thought the best preparation for us yesterday was to watch film and not practice, because it's a team you got to constantly. 2 weeks ago, I wouldn't have thought there's any way we wouldn't have been on the floor yesterday. But I look at the team and I look at how hard they're playing and how many minutes they're playing, and we go over, I shouldn't say 2 weeks ago, but maybe a few weeks before that, you look at it and say, okay, we're going to need 2 days. Well, we got to teach them how to do it off film too. So the point is, you're not going to have real long practices, you know, when you're going through these type of games, but they've got to have really good retention and at the same time play with confidence. And this helps them with that, with the amount of games that we'll have. And there's some coaching and adjusting on the fly, certainly, but at the same time, they're keeping them excited to play and having them understand the value of every game and how every game truly matters is really, really important. And I think every game has been different in the sense of preparation, including this one. And so they get that feel of it too. And we want to learn and improve, and at the same time, we want to win games. But we want to learn and improve on things that are going to help us, you know, through later on in the non-conference and then certainly in the conference.
Time for one more, Zach.
Just, I guess, one quick one about Devin. I know you've always been hesitant not to give too much of, I guess, a diagnosis, but you have talked, and I think maybe his dad's mentioned just on social media, that things have gone faster than maybe was expected. I mean, how promising is it that, I guess, he's able to
Well, here's what I would say. I can't speak on that. I speak to the people when I'm there, but that's not anything that I would go back and share, because it's not my right. It's not my. I shouldn't do that, right? But I want to keep having a baseline on how we can help him best. But the bottom line is he's been in great hands with people. So I couldn't begin to judge. Do I see somebody that is getting better? Absolutely. Do I see somebody that is excited about the future, that's anxious to be back, but at the same time knows he's in, having to go through some long days? Absolutely. Do I like his spirit? I love Devin's spirit right now that he's going through this. I can't imagine all the things that he's going through. But he's worked extremely hard at it. But for me to project, or really for anybody, even, we all want him to get better. I mean, everybody wants him to get better, and getting back here, even if it's once in a while, to be around us, that'd be great. But he's still in a long haul, and I think everybody needs to understand that. What that long haul means, I'm not sure the experts know. Okay, so you can't. We're dealing, again, I don't have the definition of it, but we're dealing with a traumatic brain injury. So they know best as to what he needs to do and what it should actually look like. What you or I may see, all right, that may not necessarily be what they see. The fact that he's progressed to the point where he can go home, that's good. That's very good. And that he'll continue to take the next step. So I don't know if there was ever a schedule that could be put in place on that, because everybody's, it's like concussions, and this was obviously worse than that. There's no way to really put any kind of timeline on that. And if the doctors aren't putting a timeline on it, well, then there's no way that we can just continue to support, help, do everything we can do, try to get as much knowledge as we can do to help him, as he moves forward, and be supportive as possible. And that's exactly what we've all tried to do.